Riley ran for the stairs and jumped down to below deck.
Alfie!
She shouted as she raced down the passage. She stopped before her cousin's door and pounded loudly.
Alfie, get up! There's a big storm approaching.
She heard mumbling from behind the door. Breaking ship's rules, Riley shoved open the door and ran into her cousin's cabin. Alfie was just a lump in his bed with his head beneath the covers.
Alfie, wake up!
Alfie pulled down the covers and shouted,
"Get out of my room!"
Then he pulled the covers up again. Riley found his clothes in a heap and threw them on the bed.
Get up, you jerk! We're in trouble from a storm.
What storm?
In that instant, the boat lurched to the side and Riley was thrown on top of her cousin.
That storm! Aunt Mary says we have to put on our vests.
She dropped her voice.
Alfie, I think we're in danger. That thing is huge. It's taking up half the sky.
Where's Mom?
She's on deck with my dad. We've lowered the sails and Dad is using the engines to try to outrun the storm.
Alfie threw back the covers and climbed from the bed. He was wearing the same shorts from yesterday.
Get out. I want to get dressed.
Riley made it to the door.
Just hurry. I'm getting the life vests.
Back in the corridor, Riley struggled to reach the storage cupboard against the rocking of the boat. Her father made sure there were extra life vests stored all over the boat, but the specifically named and fitted ones were here in the emergency cupboard. Pulling out the vests, Riley also reached for the waterproof emergency packs. Each one contained flares, a lighter, bottled water, energy bars, a small fishing kit, a mobile phone with an extra battery, and a whistle. They might not need the packs, but she felt safer having them with her. Riley pulled on her life vest just as Alfie emerged from his cabin. She threw his to him.
Here, put this on.
By the time she and Alfie made it on deck, the wind was even wilder. Waves were slamming into the event horizon and breaking over the railing, soaking them to the skin. The dark storm clouds were now encircling the boat, and the water had lost its calm green color and was now almost black with high peaking waves.
Whoa!
Alfie cried, looking around.
You weren't kidding.
Riley's father and aunt were already in life vests and standing together, struggling to hold the wheel steady. Her father had to shout to be heard over the roaming winds.
Kids, get below! The waves are rising! It's too dangerous up here!
I want to help.
You help by staying below.
Mary shouted.
Go now.
Riley caught hold of her cousin's arm.
Come on, it's getting too rough up here.
For the first time in their lives, Alfie didn't pull his arm away from her. Instead, he followed Riley back to the stairs and climbed down the slippery steps. Below deck, Riley handed her cousin one of the emergency packs.
Tie this around your waist, just in case.
While she was securing her own pack, Alfie said fearfully,
In case of what?
Just then they heard the thunderous sound of something smacking the side of the boat before everything turned sideways. Riley and Alfie were thrown to the floor as the boat rolled heavily and then righted itself again.
What was that?
I think we hit something.
Alfie climbed unsteadily to his feet and rubbed his elbow.
Ow! I hurt my arm.
This is bad. Really, really bad.
The boat was struck again, knocking it on its side. Riley and Alfie were once again thrown violently over. This time, the sailboat didn't right itself, and water poured down the steps from above.
We're sinking!
We'll be fine.
Riley said, not feeling anywhere near as confident as she forced herself to sound.
Just stay with me.
Something big just hit us, and we're capsizing! Get out of there!
Andrew, it's coming back. Hold on.
Another violent strike knocked the boat, following by a rush of water that nearly washed her father away.
Move it!
He shouted. Riley helped Alfie crawl on his hands and knees along the flooded passage. They could no longer stand up. As the side wall of the passage was now the floor beneath them, they crawled over the emergency cupboard to the stairs.
Is it a whale?
I don't think so. It's too big.
Her father was leaning down and reaching for them.
Hold on to me to climb out.
Just as Riley was reaching for his arm, Mary screamed.
Hang on!
The boat was struck again, this time from the other side. The blow was so powerful, the event horizon righted again. Tossed around like rag dolls, Riley and Alfie made it to their feet and ran towards the steps just as another scream came from above. This was followed by an explosive crash. Climbing up in the ferocious storm, Riley gasped. The sky was black and rain blew in all directions as the wind howled like an enraged animal. The tallest mast was broken and lying along the deck. Her father moved away from the steps and started edging along it. Moments later, he struggled back.
Come on. We have to abandon ship.
Why? The boat is still floating.
Riley's father shook his head.
Not for long. The mast damaged the bow. We're taking on a lot of water.
We're sinking?
Yes, now come on. We have to inflate the life raft and get off here before it's too late.
But what about that thing in the water?
The words were just out of her mouth when Mary screamed and pointed to the front of the boat. Riley added her own scream when she saw the dark head of some kind of massive snake-like sea serpent rising out of the water and smashing against the front end of the boat. Its long, scaled body coiled completely around the boat like a snake constricting around its prey. The event horizon cracked and broke like an eggshell as the sea serpent tightened its grip and crushed their sailboat.
What is that?
It's a sea monster!
Whatever it is, it's sinking us! We have to get to the life raft!
They huddled closely together and moved towards the stern of the ship. With each passing moment, the event horizon groaned and creaked as the monster crushed it. Riley looked back and saw more of the dark creature climbing onto the bow and pulling it down as the rear of the boat rose out of the water. They reached the inflatable life raft, and Riley's father and aunt struggled to free it from its cradle and toss it into the water. As the two of them pulled the line of the inflation handle, the 6-person raft burst to life. Just as they were preparing to climb in, Alfie screamed.
Look!
Everyone looked up and gasped. The sea monster was raising itself further out of the water and climbing high above the ship. It roared once, and then opened its mouth even wider and struck like a viper biting off the front end of the boat.